Welcome to the Real Talk Collective, episode 5. I can't believe it's 5.
I know.
Because we started in January, so yeah.
Yeah, it's
like
May.
with the months.
It's awesome.
I'm Caitlin, and
I'm
this is Taylor.
So we have some big news. We are expanding both physically and literally. So I'm going to let Caitlin share her news with you guys.
So I am pregnant and due in October. Taylor has known about this since the beginning. Honestly, you were like
the night of
the first friend I told. Actually, you found out before my husband.
Yeah.
So my eyes are
because we were trying not to. We were going to do a competition.
Yeah. So anyways, I found out in February that I am expecting and super excited. It's been a long journey, just in my fertility journey to get here. So very grateful. And yeah, if I've ever seemed like I'm not feeling well, it's probably because I haven't been, but hopefully I've
So how many weeks officially are you?
20 weeks today, so halfway.
This is awesome.
Yeah.
And she's showing. I know you guys can't see, but she's really cute.
Here.
She looks cute in all of her pictures, so make sure you follow along. And you're having a little girl.
Yes.
Yes.
So we're excited, and yeah, I'm happy to be here and stick this out as long as I can.
Absolutely.
Until baby comes.
I'm excited. I cannot wait.
Yes.
Can't wait to see my friend become a mama. And is mama already a mama?
Yes. And Taylor has a new baby.
I have a new baby.
A new business baby.
A business baby, not a human baby. Not yet. Maybe in the future, but not now. Yes, TK Training and Wellness is expanding into a new location. We are doubling our size beginning July 1st. So we are in the long process of renovating our space to get it ready for you guys. So we're going to be offering more services in the new location. We're hiring staff. So a lot of irons in the fire right now. So if I seem a little crazy or feeling unwell, I'm managing 2 locations, trying to hire staff and maintain my clientele. And stay vertical, which is hard for any human being, much less someone that's growing one. So
a lot of changes happening.
A lot of great changes. And I first just want to say like how grateful I am to God just for just his provision and his hand over Caitlin's life, and how he's molded her and strengthened her faith and her little family, and how he's calling me and using me and strengthening my faith. And so none of this would be possible without him. And so we just want to, I know that we both want to give him the credit and the glory for these scary but also exciting changes in our lives. And so we wanted to share that with people that are supporting us, because we wouldn't be here without you guys either. So yeah. So today we are going to talk about
people just undernourishing themselves and how you might be starving your goals. That's what really resonated with us. So does that normally cut on?
The plunge filter is filtering right now.
Hopefully you can still hear us because we have mics, so it's fine. Yeah. But yeah, we, see a lot of, I guess, confusion in our world with people that are trying, have certain goals in mind and are really thinking that in order to achieve those goals, they have to restrict a lot and eat as little as possible. I think about people go to the doctor all the time and doctors don't have a ton of nutrition training.
They get 30 minutes. And they'll say that. They will say that.
Yeah, they're really, a lot of times telling clients or telling their patients to eat less and move more. That's the advice that they get. Right. And so then I think a lot of people understandably get it in their head that and there's some degree of truth to that. We do have to be.
It's only a fraction.
Yeah. We do have to be, expending more energy than we intake to maybe lose weight. But a lot of people, they have no idea what that looks like, what that means. And so
And even on the alternative that not everybody wants to lose weight.
True.
Sometimes it's not about losing pounds per se. I talk a lot in client assessments about this, not focusing on the weight, but focusing on how our body feels and functions. And what they may, like, 20 years ago I weighed 130 pounds. I'm like, well, that was 20 years ago, and you weren't a wife and a mother or a husband and a father, and life didn't look like it does now. And so what works for me now and what works for me 20 years ago is very different.
Right.
And so understanding that the scale does not tell you everything. It's not telling you water weight. It's not telling you skeletal muscle mass. It's not telling you bone density. It's not telling you the whole story. And so I really hate, and I know Caitlin does too, that society puts such emphasis on how much we weigh,
Right.
the size of the clothes that we wear, or our BMI, which only considers your BMI is your body mass index. BMI only considers height and weight. It considers nothing else. And the example that I use when I'm explaining this to clients is if I line up the same height women, I'm 5'2", I'm a shorty. If I line up all 5'2" women, all weighing 150 pounds, they would all look very different in their body composition. Some may look a little, quote, fluffy. Some may look leaner. Some may, look more built or bulky, whatever. Like, we are going to have, I guess, ways to describe a woman's frame or a man's frame if you're listening. But weight doesn't depict the whole picture and tell the whole story about how well our body is functioning and what it actually needs from us. So instead, what I try to focus on in client sessions is focusing on improving skeletal muscle mass, improving optimal function, not just merely the scale and how much they weigh. And so in explaining to the client that muscle is more dense, so you may gain a few pounds, but that doesn't mean that we're headed in the wrong direction. So I can get on a trail like that real quick, but just understanding that the scale doesn't tell the whole picture, and there's more to it than how much you weigh and what size jeans you're fitting in.
Right. Yeah. Preach. And like you said, like not everybody's necessarily trying to lose weight. Like some people
are trying to gain weight.
Some people are trying to like feel stronger or maybe resolve like a health problem.
Or have a baby.
Get pregnant. Like I could do a whole episode on that because I learned a lot over the last 2 years of how I needed to really nourish my body to give it that, safety to be able to produce life. So, yeah, I mean, a lot of times I think that we kind of demonize food and we think food is bad. I've got to restrict it, whatever my goal is, and it's like, no, what if we embraced food as fuel, as nourishment? Like I try to really get clients to think about that. Like, look, instead of viewing food as like something to maybe stress about or overanalyze, like what if we just viewed it as fuel? Like my body needs this to run efficiently. Like just like a car needs gasoline. I say that all the time. You would never expect your car to run with an empty tank, right?
I always say you don't want to go to the beach on a quarter tank of gas, so don't expect your body to.
Exactly.
Yeah, I say that all the time.
Yeah. So, yeah, I just think we get really passionate about this because
we've lived it.
We've lived it.
Are living it.
And we constantly are like, oh, I gotta eat again. Like we might not want to, but we just know we need it. We know like if we're going to be a good coach, if we're going to show up for ourselves, we've got to fuel our bodies. And so we want our clients to do the same. So yeah, we just wanted to talk about that.
Absolutely. And I'll say for myself, with me personally, about knocked my mic off. Me personally, I have had a history of what has been called and what I call disordered eating, where I will go through stages of my life where I will undereat or binge eat. And that's very uncomfortable for me to talk about because I'm a nutrition coach and I'm a trainer, but that is part of my story. And I use that as a way to empathize and walk alongside of my clients that are struggling with those behaviors. I have a particular client that has a disordered eating behavior, and it looks very different from mine. And I noticed her symptoms because I went through some of those things myself. And I think it makes me a better coach. I think it makes me a better friend. It makes me a better woman because I've personally lived it. And it's extremely scary when we live in a state of restriction and then our body is inflamed and chronically stressed, and our body's not functioning the way that it could because we're not giving it the nourishment that it needs. And so I think this is a great opportunity to explain what our body needs. And so you have what's called your BMR, your basal metabolic rate, and this is what you need to consume in calories, which means energy, in order to sustain life. For me to sit here and swallow, blink, turn my head, do nothing as far as exertion, but just merely live requires energy. For my body to rest and digest, it requires energy. And without that, it's going to start eating on its own tissues and breaking down, and therefore become symptomatic. These things can show up like in a woman's body: irregular menstrual cycles, brain fog, fatigue, inflammation, GI distress, infertility, skin issues, hair loss. I mean, I could name another 25 of them. But if you're not giving your body what it needs, it's going to fail you. It's not going to function optimally. And I'm going to slide this in there too. Normal is not optimal. That is very different. When you go to your doctor and they're like, everything's normal, but you're still having symptoms, that's not optimal. When I'm asking my doctor, why is my skin reacting this way? Why is my hair falling out? Why am I having this problem? And he just says, well, I don't know. Everything's normal. Here's a pill for this. Here's a SSRI, or here's birth control, or maybe you should just file for disability because you have an autoimmune disease. And I'm like, I'm 34 years old. That's not the answer. So, which perturbs me greatly, which you can tell. But that is not the answer. I genuinely believe that God created us to, our bodies are brilliant. They are smart. You know, if you've ever noticed, like when something is deficient, something else takes over. Like, example, I use this analogy a lot as well. Like a blind man, if his eyes are not working optimally, his hearing will be heightened. His palate will be heightened. His sensory receptors in other parts of his body increase because he has a deficit in one area. And so our body is very smart. It will turn on and heighten other things to help the body regulate and enter into that homeostasis, which is a balance within the body. And so that's just one example. I can give thousands more, but understand that by me saying that our body can heal itself. We just have to give it the tools to heal itself in the right environment, the right food, movement, community. It all goes back to the basics of our health, which we mentioned in episode 2 and 3. If you want to go back and listen to that, the basics of our health and how we can help our body heal from the inside out. And what is normal is not optimal.
Yes.
I just want to be like,
yeah.
Where's my mallet?
that could be a whole nother episode, honestly.
I know.
Like, oh my gosh. I've been recently like geeking out on lab work with people, and I'm not technically like qualified to interpret labs, but I'm actually looking into that because I just geek out on these numbers, and I'm not even a numbers person, but I geek out on these because people are being kind of misled, misinformed. But anyways.
So for context, for people that are just dropping in to our 5th episode, Caitlin is a functional nutrition coach.
Yeah.
And tell people what that means.
Yeah. So I'm not a dietitian, so I don't necessarily provide like medical based meal plans for people, but I really lean more on the education of how food affects our body, how the processes in our body work, like digestion being a huge one, blood sugar regulation being a huge one, and just teaching people how things work and function within our body, and then how that connects with food. So that, because for me, like when I was in nutrition school, like, you know, I always knew like, oh, I should be eating these things or eating that, blah, blah, blah. But I never understood why. And once I understood why, like why it matters to have, you know, protein at each meal for blood sugar, you know, regulation, or why it matters to like eat, you know, in a rested state so that your body can digest stuff. You know, when you learn the reasons why and you're educated, you're more empowered to make those decisions. So just like I learned it, knowledge is power. Just like I learned it, then now like I teach my clients, it's not just, hey, eat this, you know, follow this meal plan because I said so. It's like, no, like figure out these habits, and here's why. Yeah. Here's why it helps your body, you know? Yeah. Here's why your body functions better when you do X, Y, or Z. Okay. So, yeah, that's my role. And getting back to like the BMR thing, you know, I'll have people like start, you know, step one, start just writing down what you're eating. Log your food, whether you write it down, whether you use an app. You know, my first step with people is like, let's take inventory of what a typical day looks like. No goals in mind. Let's just kind of see where you're falling on an average day. And what I see the majority of the time is, and if we're able, you know, you have an in-body machine, so you can actually calculate BMR, which is awesome. There's calculations you can do online to figure out someone's BMR. So anyways, what I find is that a lot of people, I would say 90% of people are oftentimes, especially women, I don't want to, you know, say everybody, but especially women are eating
well
below their basal metabolic rate, which is survival, like calories, like Taylor was talking about, like that's what you need to survive, to sustain just vital functions in your body. So if we're eating below that, how in the world can we expect like optimal health or our body to do like just basic things, to show up in the gym and feel energized and strong? Like, no way.
Yeah.
You know? So a lot of times it's like, okay, we got to get you at least above this threshold, which is your BMR, because you're like stressing your body out. Your body's essentially stressed out.
Well, we're already stressed out.
Right.
Because of the society that we live in. We're overworked, underpaid. We have many roles that we fill and many hats that we, you know, wear. And we're exhausted, myself included. And so, and I wear all the hats. I am sometimes a one-woman show. And so I get it. Believe me, everything that we are expressing to you today and trying to teach to you today is things that we have personally experienced and go through with our clients and with our own lives to achieve our own health and, you know, help our well-being. And something that I notice a lot in client sessions, because Caitlin and I are also personal trainers, so we see, you know, one-on-one training and group training and those types of things, is I find a lot of times I'm having to stop in sessions sometimes with my clients because they didn't eat. It's 4:30 in the evening, and the only thing they've had is a Starbucks coffee, and I'm expected to give them a hard workout or push them in this hour, and then their color's changing on me or their blood sugar's dropping.
They're dizzy.
Yeah. You know, they can't stand up straight, and so it makes it really hard for us to do our jobs when our clients and you guys are not doing your job. Yeah. You know, it goes back to, you can lead a horse to water, but you can't make him drink. I know without a shadow of a doubt, me and Caitlin have put the time in to learn and continue our learning and applying and creating things and resources for our clients to equip them and help them. But we can only do so much in our capacity. We can't be there to, you know,
spoon feed you
and knock you out when you need to go to bed, and, you know, walk you like we do our dogs. You know, there's just, you have to have some autonomy and independency and I need to do this for myself, and you have to want it more than we want it. And I know that me and Caitlin want it for you, or we wouldn't be in this industry, and we wouldn't be so dang tired if we didn't care. Or we wouldn't be doing this podcast so that we can help reach a greater audience, to help more people that maybe can't afford training. Yeah. So that's why we do what we do, is that we genuinely want to help you, and we genuinely care. And I know that if you implement the tools that we give you and the resources that are available to you, that it will work. So
yeah, and I think the overarching question that this episode we want to like drive home in this episode is like, what if what's keeping you stuck is that you're undernourished and underfed and overwhelmed. You know what I mean? Like we can't control all the stressors in our life, but this is what I tell clients. We can't, stress is inevitable, like hands down. We all know that. But what if what if we are exacerbating it though by undereating? Because we are, like, if you're undereating, you are adding another layer of stress. Or I talk about a stress bucket. That bucket only holds so much until it overflows, right? So we don't expect zero stress. We don't expect the bucket to be empty, but we want to keep it from overflowing. So if like you have got all this other thing, all these other things going on, you don't sleep well, you've got, all these roles, a stressful job, whatever. And on top of that, you are underfueling your body. You can control that. You can. And that would take a layer off or a layer out of that bucket, maybe to keep it from overflowing. So yeah, I just think that we need to think about, I think society thinks about undereating as like this badge of honor. Mm-hmm. Oh, I'm like restricting calories, and I got the salad instead of the burger or whatever.
Salads don't, like, I want to tell y'all something. You can eat more than a dang salad or kale chips or, ice chips and kale. Like, that's not how we live. Right. I eat real food.
Right.
I eat a lot of food.
Yeah.
And that scares a lot of people, men and women. It scares a lot of people. But eating salads every day for lunch, having coffee in the morning, and then only eating one meal a day, if that is you, please stop. That is not working. It is not helping you or serving you in any way, shape, or form. If you want to learn for yourself, you can learn at your fingertips. You have literally a computer in your hands that you can search and do the research yourself. If you would love to, you can hire Caitlin and I, and we can help you walk through that as to why it is not helping or serving you in any way, shape, or form. And kind of going back to that, explaining that, if people are eating their last meal, let's say supper, between 6 and 7, and then let's say they go to bed, and if you're getting 7, 8, whatever, at least those many hours of sleep, you're at least in a fasting state for 10, 12 hours. And then the first thing that you introduce into your body is caffeine. When you wake up in the morning, your cortisol levels are the highest the first 2 hours of waking, and then you're introducing a stimulant into an empty stomach that is already high in cortisol, that's dehydrated and that's been fasting for 10 plus hours. Just right there, tell me how that's working. Okay, you're stressed out, you're introducing a stimulant on an empty stomach. Think through that process. Then you're waiting another 4 or 5 hours, if that, maybe longer for some of you, to eat a meal, and you're only having salad, no protein, nothing to balance your blood sugar, just great in fiber, if you want that, or you're going through the Zaxby's drive-thru or the Wendy's drive-thru or whatever else is convenient to you, or the Sheetz gas station, which I hate that one. How much rather you go to Wendy's or something. Like, just don't go to a gas station and get your food. But you're doing that, and then you've not only been, if you've had a coffee or caffeine, now you're going 15, 16 hours, no food. Your body's starving. It's already started eating on itself.
When people will say, but I'm not hungry first thing in the morning.
You're not hungry because you're not eating.
Well, because you're running on stress hormones.
Right.
Your body is literally living off of that cortisol and that, adrenaline that you've got going, and therefore it's shutting off your hunger signals So you get in the habit of that for months or years or whatever, like your hunger signals are completely, I tell people all the time, we've got to retrain your hunger signals.
Absolutely.
You start eating breakfast first thing in the morning, give that a month, your hunger signals will be back on and telling you, hey, I need food if you don't eat.
Right.
So again, it's back to what I was saying earlier. It's not a badge of honor to starve yourself or to just live on coffee and cortisol. I think we almost named our like
caffeine and cortisol. Yeah.
Anyways, but that's not a badge of honor. You're wreaking havoc on your body, your nervous system. Like your body is suffering because of that. So again, let's start viewing food and nourishment first thing in the day as really what the badge of honor is, not starving yourself and just running off of coffee.
Right. You need energy to get through your day. And then, for a lot of people, they're eating, late at night or they're ravenous. I have a lot of clients that like, I just found that I'm craving sweets and I'm ravenous at night. And I'm like, well, no shit, Sherlock. You didn't eat all day, You skipped breakfast, you ate a light lunch, and now you're starving and you're living off of your kids' chicken tenders come 6 o'clock. So I can go on and on about that, and I'm obviously getting really passionate about it because I'm ready to jump. It is so wild to me that is how people function and that is their normal, and that we have to convince people to eat real food. And that you can live an abundant life and you can enjoy your food, that you don't have to live off of rice cakes and air. That you
or chicken and broccoli all the time.
No, we don't. I don't. I'm going to tell you that right now. If you watch any of my videos, I eat cake and eat Honey Nut Cheerios and just some of the things that I've recently posted. So I want people to understand, and I think we want people to understand, that it is not about living life bare minimum. You need to eat above your basal metabolic rate in order to not just survive, but thrive.
Yeah.
We want you living optimally, not just what is normal and what society deems as normal. We want to make sure that you are eating to complement the investments that you are making in the gym, that you are making toward your health and physical goals, whatever that may be. And you need to do that with proper nourishment and stress management.
Yeah.
And I know this is about nutrition, but everything ties together. The body is one. One thing affects the other thing, and so it compounds. So if you can think of one thing in your life right now, I always say start with breakfast, that you can implement into your day and then slowly build off of that. Maybe it's like you don't have time to make breakfast, but you can grab a yogurt. Maybe you can grab a banana. Then maybe the next week you have a yogurt and a banana, So you build on habits that serve you, that require no prep. They're grab and go options, but it's still going to pay huge dividends in the long term.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, we just don't want people spinning their wheels, like working out, paying us and not getting anywhere.
Yeah.
I think that's just the hardest thing, is when people have been coming to us for months and years and we're not seeing them change, though, not because of the workouts, but because of they don't have the building blocks,
right? To support
what we're doing. Right. And I mean, granted, like I'm all for you coming here, coming to us and moving your body, but
we can't do what
we want you to see you change. We want to see you like get stronger and achieve your goals, and it unfortunately requires work outside of the gym. So
I would say fortunately, thank God that
that's true.
We always talk about nothing worth having is easy, and I look at women that have built strong bodies, businesses, families, faith, and I'm like, I have so much mad respect and admiration for them, because I know that it took everything that they had to get there. And so thank God it doesn't come easy, because I don't think we would appreciate it as much.
That's true.
I have a newfound confidence for myself for trying things that made me very uncomfortable. Talking on camera, expanding a business, just trying new things that I never in my wildest dreams would have thought that little Taylor was capable of, but she is, because she bet on herself and she tried. And so if this topic for you, this under eating or eating more sounds daunting, or calorie counting sounds daunting, ask for help. Let somebody come alongside you and help you. We can customize things that can, if it's certain words that trigger you, like that of calories or body composition lingo that's very triggering to you, come and talk to us. Like, let us help you, or find somebody that you feel comfortable in going and talking to about it. But I also just want you to further understand that what you're doing when you're under eating is that you're not helping your body function optimally. You're just trying to reach a certain number on the scale, and then you get frustrated because you don't look like you want to look, and you're not going to, because you're not giving your body the proper tools that it needs to function. And so what is really happening on a cellular level is that your body is going to start breaking down its skeletal muscle, because muscle is it's more satious, if that's a word. It is satiating. Yes, I always get those. It always changes depending on the way you use it. But muscle is more nutrient dense, so your body is going to feed off it first, and then it's going to put your body into conservation mode, meaning that the fat that you're trying to burn off or think that you're burning off is actually being stored and
to keep you alive.
Because that's also what's responsible for regulating your hormones, making sure that your brain works, that you can speak, think, make decisions, react. Fat is essential for that. In a woman's body, it's even more essential if you're a menstruating woman or, a fertile woman, because we need that in order to regulate our hormones. And so we're going to hang on to that a lot more than that of our male counterparts, because our sex organs are inside. And we need that extra cushion around our sex organs to protect young and to protect our vital organs. And so our body is in conservation mode. And so that is why you're not losing weight. If you're a woman that's listening to this and is under eating, you're actually storing and reserving fat and losing bone density and losing skeletal muscle, because you are not eating enough to support what you're doing in the gym or other efforts that you may be taking to lose weight. And that's why you feel exhausted and inflamed and feeling like you're spinning your wheels, is that your body is just not able to do what it needs to do. And so,
I think that sums it up. And I would say if you're like, well, how the heck do I figure out my BMR? Like I said, come see Taylor. She's got an awesome in-body composition machine that will tell you.
And there is a BMR calculator that you can type that into your phone, and there's an app that you can find. It's called BMR Calc. And download it, and it'll calculate your BMR. And that'll be a good start if you're not ready to invest into a coach right now.
Yeah. And I would say that's probably, you tell me your thoughts, probably more accurate too than like going off of what these calorie tracking apps are telling you. Because I find they're oftentimes off.
They are very off. So in your calorie and there's all kinds. Right. I would encourage you to find something that you can stick to.
That's user-friendly for you.
Right. MyFitnessPal is very common, but not everybody likes MyFitnessPal. You have Nutrillo, you have Lose It. There's all kinds. But finding something that works for you and that you know that you're actually going to use, so that you actually know how much you're consuming. And I know it can be a pain in the tail to start tracking, but you need to create that awareness first. And without the awareness, you're never going to understand and know what to do and when to do it. And us as coaches can't help you if we don't know where you currently are and where you stand. And so data is good for us. It gives us feedback. It's not always the end all be all, but it is information that we utilize to help personalize a program that is helpful and personal to you to meet your goals.
Yeah.
So,
and we can't change what we don't know. Like I always tell people, I'm asking you to log your food, not to judge you at all, but like because I can't help you change what we don't know, right? So like the awareness piece is so big. It's not about like, oh, you shouldn't be eating this or you shouldn't be eating that. No, I'm always like, let us just write it down or log it so we can figure out where the gaps are. Like what you're feeling a certain way. Okay, let's look at what your day-to-day looks like and let's fill those gaps. So again, it comes back to, we're not here to try to necessarily make you restrict. A lot of times it's, how can we help you nourish more? How can we help you get in more protein or get in more fiber? and fill the gaps, not reduce and restrict.
Right. Absolutely. And even kind of further to explain that, normally in nutrition, we have 3 separate phases of nutrition. You have a restoration phase, a transformation phase, and a maintenance phase. And not everybody enters all 3 phases. Sometimes they're not necessary depending on the client. But a lot of times when I am coaching clients, we have a lot of people in restoration, meaning that we want to restore your metabolism to the body. We want your body utilizing the food that you give it for energy and nourishment and not eating on its own tissues. And in order for that to happen, you need to eat enough. And so you'll say again, like, well, Taylor, I'm not hungry. I don't feel like eating. Well, I always say that you have to stimulate that. Just like I use the Pavlov's experience with the dogs. Like they would ring the bell and the dogs would salivate. If they didn't have that stimulus, they would not salivate. So we have to see food, smell food, taste food in order to stimulate that response to become hungry. And for people that, eating more food is daunting, eat something light, eat something bland. Maybe start pureed. Eat a dang applesauce packet for all I care. Eat something and swallow it and allow your body the opportunity to digest, and just notice what happens when you give it the fuel that it needs so that your body can function and thrive optimally and not just merely survive. And you are going to feel so much better.
Yep.
I'm really passionate about it. You can hear me over here stomping and patting.
Couldn't have said it better myself.
Yeah. So if you are new to the Real Talk Collective, we invite you to follow, subscribe, share. If you like this episode, please let us know. If there's other things that you want us to talk about, please drop it and let us know. You can follow us also on Instagram at the Real Talk Collective and stay just connected with us. And
yeah, we hope you guys have a fantastic
Memorial Day weekend.